It's 8:30, so why don't we get started for folks that just joined. If you want to put in the chat where you're joining us from this morning, that would be great. And my name is Teresa Kittridge, and I'm the founder of 100 Rural Women. Just want to welcome everybody here today, and want to introduce a couple folks that I'm co-facilitating with. And so let's start out. Rachel, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Jurisch, and I am a board member of 100 Rural Women.
How about you, Erica?
Sure. Hi, I'm Erica Bjelland. I am also a 100 Rural Women board member.
Wonderful. And then let's just go. We have a couple interns with us this morning who have really been people powering 100 Rural Women. So just feel very fortunate to have these amazing young women working with us. So Hannah Lepper, you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Hannah Lepper, and I'm a junior at St. Olaf College. I'm majoring in political science with a minor in international relations. For 100 Rural Women, I am focusing on our Get Out the Vote initiative and helping with whatever Teresa needs.
Wonderful. Thanks. How about you, Jaslyn?
Yeah, my name is Jaslyn. I'm attending Winona State this year. I am a senior here. And I'm also an intern for 100 Rural Women working on some spotlight profiles. So I interview our webinar individuals after the webinars.
Great, thank you. And Alexa?
Yeah, hi, I'm Alexa. I am a senior at Winona State. I study psychology and communication studies, and I just came on this fall with 100 Rural Women as an intern, and I'm working on social media and the book club.
Great, and let's see, who else do I see on here? Megan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Megan Welandt. I'm also a senior at Winona State. I just started with 100 Rural Women like last week. So I'm going to be working with like the website and working with Alexa on the social media. Oh, and I'm a mass communications major with a communication studies minor.
Wonderful. Yeah, welcome, Megan. And did I miss any other interns that are on the call? I don't see anybody else. But I did just spot our board chair. Terri, you want to say hi quick?
Hello, I'm Terri Foley. Welcome to the webinar. I'm excited to be here today. This is a great topic. So.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Rachel.
All right. Good morning again, everyone. So I'm just going to start off with a basic introduction of 100 Rural Women for some of you who might not know who we are or what we are. So we build networks and leadership. We see a future where more rural women lead positive change for themselves, their families, communities, the nation, and the world. We are committed to building leadership through networks, mentorships, education, and civic engagement. Our organization is a nonprofit and we are nonpartisan. And our mission is to serve and support rural women. And that's why we invited you all here today for the Rural Women Breakfast Club. We believe it's more important than ever during COVID-19 that we continue to lift up the work of rural women leaders, share their resources with each other, network and continue to develop as leaders in these unprecedented times we're living in. So this morning, I'm going to start off by introducing our fabulous speakers. And then Teresa will take off the first half of this webinar by doing some questions with the guest speakers. And then Erica will do the remainder of the time for audience Q&A. So if you have any questions throughout this webinar, put them in the chat and Erica will compile them and she'll be asking them in the last 30 minutes of this webinar. I'm sure all of you are experts of Zoom, but to go over some Zoom basics, just make sure you mute yourself, and that's on my screen, it's at the top right-hand corner. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat feature. We encourage conversations in the chat feature, and if you have any resources, please share them. We're open to anything. We love to learn more information because we all don't know everything. Also, this meeting will be recorded and available on our website, 100ruralwomen.org. And all the resources will also be shared on that platform also. Now I'd like to introduce the speakers. First, we have Debra Fitzpatrick. She is the Director of Policy and Legislative Affairs for the Child's Defense Fund, Minnesota, where she specializes in working family policy, including paid family and medical leave and child care assistance. We also have Nancy Landeros. She lives in Worthington, Minnesota. She is actually a native of Texas, a mother of 3, an educator, and former employee of 10 years at the Worthington School District. She recently quit her job at the Nobles County Integration Collaborative to become a stay-at-home mom. Next, we have Mary Rotter. She is the owner, director of Lake Prep Preschool and Early Childhood Centers in Detroit Lakes with her husband, Eric. Actually, while teaching in kindergarten in the Twin Cities Metro for 10 years, she witnessed firsthand the importance that quality early learning has on a child's K-12 success, which led her to bringing her expertise and passion for childcare to West Central Minnesota. And last but not least is Lori Vrolson. She has more than 27 years of experience in the field of aging. Currently, she is the executive director of Central Minnesota Council on Aging, serving the 14 counties in Central region of Minnesota. If you're not familiar, the Area Agency on Aging assists individuals to age successfully and develops the capacity of communities to care for an aging population. So those are all of our speakers, and those are just brief little bit bios of them. And if you want to go more to see their bios more in depth, I will send a link to our page that has all of the information on them. So next up, Teresa, take it away, facilitating the questions.
Thanks, Rachel. And as everybody can see, we have amazing presenters today, and I'm just so thankful for them to take the time to, share their expertise, experience, and their journeys with you. So let's start out right away with question 1, which is, for the presenters, tell us a little bit about your experience and work in family care and the impact that COVID has had. And Mary, do you want to kick that question off?
Yeah, I can, because I got voted to start on this one last week. Yeah, so Mary Rotter for Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. I guess first I'll just say that when you talk about the impact of childcare from COVID, my story is only one story. So you just have to always take that with, talk to other people that are in the profession too before you can really get a full story. But the impact of COVID, I think, has just maybe highlighted the other impacts that have happened in childcare for decades coming. And actually, COVID has brought light to early care, in my opinion, and the importance of the people that work in the profession and the support for families and the support for workforce and, fair wages and all those kinds of things. And we have a lot of work to do still. And, but the thing is that, adding extra cleaning and taking on extra regulations and policies that have trickled down from COVID, that's not new to us. So we are used to creating a new training because of new regulation. We're used to adding a new policy because it's being asked of us. So in my opinion, yeah, that kind of stinks, but it's not anything new. I think the thing that we have to focus on is the awareness of early care and the importance of it and how we can use this as a catapult to keep going.
Thanks, Mary. Lori, how about you?
So I think with COVID-19, one of the things that we're seeing with family caregivers, I work in the field of aging, and so one of the programs we operate is the Senior Linkage Line, which is a statewide information assistance program of the Minnesota Board on Aging. But with that, I think we're seeing an increase of family members who are at this time being more hesitant and looking for options to keep their family members at home instead of moving them to an assisted living or into a nursing home. And so with that, the fortunate thing is that there are far more resources available to family caregivers than what people realize. And so typically families don't start looking at, I mean, it's like, I don't have school age children, little children anymore. So daycare issues and that I don't pay too much attention to. So when a crisis happens and someone gets thrown into the area of caregiving for an older adult, they may not have paid attention to what are the resources that are out there. And a lot of what we're seeing right now from families needing to tap into is nutrition support. So programs like home delivered meals, where volunteers are dropping off frozen bundles of meals and doing kind of the knock and drop at the door for people, grocery shopping assistance so that the older adult can stay at home and a volunteer will go get their groceries and bring them to their house, and once again just knock on the door and drop them off. Virtual caregiver support groups. There's just a variety of programs out there, and you know, it's a matter of people being aware of them and tapping into them. The nice thing about the senior linkage line is that it's a 1-800 number, and I'm going to put a plug in for it. So it's 1-800-333-2433. And we have one of our wonderful senior linkage staff on this call today too, Jolene. And, you know, they're just there to help a person, you know, listen to what their situation is and help them evaluate what are their supports that are out there, whether they're volunteer-based, whether they're formal services, and get them connected to what is already there. And so I just encourage anybody on the call today that either you yourself are having caring for an older relative, or you know a coworker, because I mean, we know 1 in 5 people are caring for an older adult. So you likely know somebody that's in that situation, and just have them reach out to us.
Great, thanks, Lori. How about you, Deborah? Oh, we've got you on mute still. Perfect.
Thanks, sorry. Always have to have somebody that does that. So I broke the ice with it. So I have been working for the last decade or so on how we can create a adequately funded care infrastructure in the state of Minnesota. And just a little about what that means to me when I'm saying a care infrastructure. First of all, I think Lori and Mary just highlighted how we have this kind of fractured system where families, you know, have certain times in their lives where they need support for caregiving, but we don't really have kind of a one-stop shop or one place people can go to across the lifespan. So I think thinking about how we're creating a more coordinated system, but also just in general, how we're creating a system where families can avoid financial ruin when they have these caregiving needs across the lifespan, where they don't, you know, they're not going to lose their job, where they have options. You know, some people want to care for their own family members, others want to find support outside of their home. Sometimes they want to combine those two. So I think thinking about how we're creating a system that gives people different options to manage the caregiving needs that they have in their life. And then finally, just a system that really recognizes the value of care in our society, that it's a public good, that we all benefit from people across the state getting good quality care, whether it's an infant or it's an elder. And so thinking about how we're creating that system where everybody is invested in that, not just having that be the responsibility of individual families when they have these needs arise in their lives. So, and you know, similarly there, we know that caregivers often across our economy are some of the lowest paid workers. And we, again, that doesn't sort of square with the value, I think, that those people are giving to our families, but also to our state. So I think, you know, COVID has really revealed how much we don't have this kind of seamless infrastructure kind of support. It's called out the value of care, but we still don't have the kind of financial resources backing it up that we need to really make good on this increased knowledge and awareness about the value and importance of care across our state. So I'll leave it at that and pass it to the next person.
Great. Nancy, what are your thoughts on this first question?
First of all, I just want to, it's an honor to be on here this morning with you guys today. And Teresa, thank you for this opportunity. So I guess mine's just a little different. Like Rachel said, I work at the Worthington School District for the last 10 years. I started off working at the Nobles County Integration Collaborative as an AmeriCorps there for a couple of years. Then I moved on to be a paraprofessional, and then administrative assistant, and most recently a program manager and an integration culture liaison. So over the years, I built relationships with parents, with students. I am bilingual in Spanish and in English, so you know I was there to help those students who were in need. I was there for interpreting, you know, any families who needed help in that area. But at my last position at the Nobles County Integration Collaborative, when I first started working with them as an AmeriCorps, their work was more of doing community work. And then when I came in, they had shifted that into basically just focus on education and parent engagement. So when COVID hit, we had to switch back. It's like we don't have a choice. You know, we have to help these students. If these students are in need, if their parents, their relatives, whoever they're living with are struggling, how do we expect them to also succeed in their education? So, I mean, our roles were totally different. There was parents who were reaching out to us saying they needed help with delivering food. So we would drop off food. Parents needed help with actually navigating an iPad. They did not know how to use an iPad. So if you have your kindergartner there barely learning how to use an iPad, or just, you know, or even that language support, we had to be there for them. And it was crazy. But I'm glad me and the staff were there to help just communicate information about the school district to the parents. You know, just being there for them even throughout the whole day. And so, I mean, that's just made me realize how, you know, how each person can make an impact, you know, if you're just that one person. But with that too, it impacted me and my family. Well, COVID did, just because we're at a point where we didn't have no childcare for my 10-month-old anymore. And our kids were staying at home doing distance learning. So, and I didn't have any childcare for them, and I wasn't gonna leave them by themselves during the day. At the time I had a kindergartner and a 7th grader. So there was a big gap. And so luckily at the time when COVID hit, I was working from home, but it just wasn't as easy. And so, I mean, I had to come to a decision just recently where you know, basically, well, I didn't have a choice. I had to quit my job. And so that was very hard for me. But I just try to look at the positive things about it. And God has given me this opportunity to be with my children. And, you know, it's such a blessing. But I mean, there's other families out there who are going through the same thing, you know. But so, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.